Welcome to the Intuitive Rising podcast. I'm your host, Amy Brooks. This is a podcast that invites you to remember who you are, return to yourself, and rise into your highest and best soul self. Every week, I will be sharing inspiring conversations about topics that hold keys to your awakening. My mission as an international evidential psychic medium, Reiki practitioner, and intuitive mentor is to help you rise into who you were born to be. Enjoy the show. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode. So happy that you are here with me today. My name is Amy Brooks, and today I'm going to share an experience with you that has left me feeling a little bit tender, definitely vulnerable, and absolutely in awe. This experience that I'm about to speak to you about happened, actually, I'm realizing in this moment, exactly 7 days ago. It happened last Thursday. And it's taken me that long to feel like I could speak about it because I was like in deep processing mode, I guess you could say, since it happened. So I didn't know how to speak about it. I still don't know if I even have the words today, but I am going to trust this kind of nudge inside me that I am ready to speak about it. And however it comes out is the way that it is meant to be shared. Just in this moment, I'm nudged to share with you the background on my phone. And so I promise this is connected. About a month ago, I was doing a meditation, and something that I received really quite clearly from my spirit guide was this mantra, this affirmation. And I typed it up and I made it the background on my phone. And this affirmation was, my desire to serve is greater than my fear of being heard. And if that is not the affirmation for the, intention of this podcast, then I don't know what is. But I wanted to share that with you because I feel like that was prefacing, almost this experience that I was about to have and that I did have last week. My desire to serve is greater than my fear of being heard. And I remind that to myself in this moment. And I remind it to you, dear little light workers, as you listen and you navigate your own path of working with the light that is within you, that resides within you. And so I will be honest and share that I feel quite vulnerable sharing this experience with you, but I also feel like I need to and that I'm meant to share this information and this experience with you. I know that, especially with this going out on YouTube, as well as on all other listening podcast sites like Apple and Spotify, etc. I know that YouTube seems to be the one that, if I'm going to get any hate or backlash, it's where it comes from. And I'm aware of the fact that this is going to be there. Some of you may be watching it on YouTube. Hello, if so. And I'm working through the fear of sharing the experience and what I'm going to share about and my opinions and all of that. But my desire to serve is greater than my fear of being heard. And so you might hear that a few times throughout this episode as a gentle reminder to myself, but also to you listening. If you're listening to this episode, there's a reason. Now, before we get started, I want to share that I know that a lot of us on the spiritual path are working through major fears. Collectively, we're working through major fears. We are unlearning a whole heck of a lot right now. And if you are on the spiritual path as someone who is called to it, you're drawn to it, you feel like you've been kicked through the door, so to speak, maybe a little, and you're experiencing and have been experiencing spiritual, intuitive, psychic, mediumistic experiences, visitations, etc., then you know that there can be some fear that needs to be worked through in allowing yourself to go there, but certainly in then sharing it with the world. We are definitely all opening ourselves up to potential, unkind, let's just say unkind energy, right? But we also feel like that desire to walk that path and to share that wisdom, that healing that the world so desperately needs at this moment in time is greater than any fear of what happens when we share our voice. It almost becomes like I have to do it, even though I might not want to do it. I have to do it. And there is this feeling inside of you that just pushes you to do it, pushes you towards your greatness and the greatest expression of who you are at a soul level. And collectively, that's what we're working through, of aligning our inner and our outer expressions of who we are, our soul self. Um, and so, okay, let's just get started. I want to start there and just let you know that I am working through fear as I speak. I'm putting myself out on a limb. I'm sharing a life changing experience with you in the awareness that in doing so, the people that are meant to receive it and hear it will and are right now. Okay, so last Thursday night, I took part, and when I mean took part, I observed, I watched a Hay House event. Most of you will know Hay House. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Company that produces courses and decks, Oracle Tarot, books, education around spiritual knowledge and wisdom. It's quite well known. Hay House was having an event with 3 mediums, and you could pay for a virtual spot, and uh, that would give you the opportunity to possibly be read by one of these 3 mediums, or you could just sign up for the free version, which is that you are not in the crowd of eligible possible sitters, right? Like, it means that you're not going to receive a reading, but that you get to watch the event and get to watch other people receive readings. And I signed up for that one. I just wanted to observe the mediums. I do remember 2 of their names. One of them actually was a guest on this podcast not too long ago, but the third, I am terribly sorry. I don't remember her name, but she was amazing, actually. So there was a female medium. I'll make sure that I link her name in the show notes so I can give her kudos. But there was James Von Prague, who a lot of us will know. He's an OG. He has been around a very long time. And then there was Sean Leonard, who was the person that was on this podcast last summer of 2023. So they were both along with this woman, who I can't remember her name, did this event and provided teachings and shared stories and then did readings for the people that attended. And it was amazing to be witness to. And so anyhow, when it was James Von Prague's time to come on stage, he shared some teachings, and some information, and then he walked the crowd through a guided meditation. And as I listened to this whole event, I was pretty much on autopilot. I was watching on my phone. It was propped up on my kitchen counter as I was cooking dinner, as I was unloading a dishwasher and loading a dishwasher. My kids are running around. It was not quiet meditation time, but it was. I did feel called to take a moment to sit at the kitchen table and take part in James' in the guided meditation that he shared for whatever reason. Now I know we need to always follow the breadcrumbs, right? There's a reason that I felt like taking part in that one. Just got the goosebumps as I said that. So I sit down at the kitchen table for a moment. I close my eyes and I listen to what he's saying. And I immediately go somewhere, like sometimes I do guided meditations and I'm still very much aware of my body and, oh, my foot is itchy, or, oh, I want to scratch my nose, or I got to go pee. Sometimes I'm very aware of my physical. Sometimes I reach a much deeper kind of state of meditation and relaxation where I am not at all aware of my surroundings or my body. And it very much feels like, when we're sleeping. And so I entered that state very quickly, where I was not aware of my surroundings or anything. And it felt like I had been in this meditation for a really long time, but I wasn't. Like, I don't know how long he talked, maybe 7 minutes, who knows? But it wasn't too long because my supper didn't burn. So, well, it wasn't very long. And so he starts off, I'll share it with you in case it's something that you want to think about and see what happens for you. He asked us to close our eyes and take a deep breath and uh, imagine a meadow of wildflowers. And I am doing this and I see the wildflowers, and they said, imagine you're walking on a path. And so I see the path, and it's a dirt path. It's very well worn. It's very narrow as well. And it is winding. So this is how it shows up for me, not the way that he's explained it. He's just said there's a path. And so I share this with you too, like the little details, because I want you to pay attention to how things show up for you when you are doing a meditation. The person might be saying a path, but you're seeing it's rounded and it's well worn and it's narrow. Take note of those things because those things are specific. That's why they show up for you like that. Somebody else might have seen something very, very different. So anyways, I see that. And then he says, okay, stop. And you're going to pick up a flower, and you're going to pick the flower, and don't worry so much about killing the flower. Another one will immediately grow back in its place. It's okay. You can pick this flower. What kind of flower do you see? So for me, I'm seeing purple, and I see a purple iris, and I pick it up, and then he says, okay, so look at your hand as you're holding this flower in your hand. And as you're looking at your hand and as you're looking at your flower in your hand, another hand comes from behind you and rests their hand on top of yours. And he says, this is your spirit friend. A spirit friend has come forward today to say hello to you and to give you a message. And so after I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it's, probably in my own brain was thinking, okay, it's probably going to be like my dad, maybe one of my grandparents. But in this moment, I was in such a deep meditation that I didn't have those thoughts, right? Or even those expectations around who this is. And so I see this hand, and I know that it's a male hand, mainly because of just a knowing versus how it looks. Although when I recall it, it is obviously looks like a male hand, and very short nails and shaped and very clean. And I noticed note of the color of the skin, which was kind of like a olivey shade, a very light brown shade, and it felt very warm. And so then I hear, okay, turn around to face this person whose hand this belongs to, who is the spirit friend who has come to visit you today. And I turn around, and in this moment, I'm still like stunned and aware and, sorry, in awe. And I'm probably going to be tongue tied because I'm totally aware that the experience I had, it doesn't have words, so I'm trying to find words for it as we go. So I know there is a man in front of me, someone that presented as a male, in his lifetime. I knew he was a spirit. I knew he wasn't like, like me in the sense I'm in my physical. And it's all I can see. I can see like an off-white. There's some sort of clothing being worn that is off-white. That kind of looks like um, linen, I would say. That's the closest thing that I think that we have or that I know of in this moment that would remind me of that. Like a natural kind of linen look. And I see bare feet and they're clean, just like the hands are clean. And I look up and I can't see features. It's kind of like when you look at someone, or say like you take a picture of someone and the sun is at their back. And so when you take a picture, it's almost like you're blinded by the sun and the light. So in the picture, their features and their face doesn't fully show up as it would if the sun was at their face. Right? It's almost like all you can see is light and you can see the shape of them and you can tell it's them, but it's mainly you're like blinded by the light. So I'm blinded by the light when I look at his face. It's a golden light that doesn't exist here. Closest thing, sunlight. It's just, oh, I'm full of goosebumps as I explain this. Just light. I'm just bathed in light. I feel warm. It feels like the perfect temperature on a warm, sunny day. It's not too hot. It's not cold. It's just like the ideal temperature. And I'm absolutely like saturated with warmth and well-being. And I will try not to get emotional, but if I do, I will allow that to happen. So I immediately have a knowing. I know who this is, and it supersedes any sort of expectation or awareness of who this person is. I just know who this person is. I just know it. And they're familiar. They're as close to me as I am to me. It's like, oh, okay, hi, like a remembrance. And who I saw in this moment was Jesus. And I will share also, you guys that are the OGs of this podcast, been around a long time, you'll know that I don't have a religious background. I have gone to church. I've taken myself to church, and I've always desired to know Jesus better. But in my attempts to find him through readings in the Bible or attending different churches and denominations, I just never found what I was looking for. And so I have a belief in God and I have a belief in Jesus. I'm just not a religious person. And so I don't have like external knowledge of the Bible and everything that's written in it. And I don't have that knowledge that's, somebody who would have spent their lifetime in church and receiving that information and knowledge would have. So I have no bias here. This is unbiased. This is going in with like, I know in my heart of hearts that God is real. I feel like God is creator of all things and God is everything all at once. It's all of us, that we are droplets of God, as the late great UK spiritual medium Mavis Patilla would say. She wrote a book called Droplets of God. I believe in God. I believe in source. I believe in that energy. Absolutely. And I also believe, just through my own knowing and intuition and what's true for me, that Jesus was a real person, just like you and I, and lived a life. But that's without any of the knowledge and bias of learning from church and through religion. And so this experience, I just want to preface to say that it's just, I go in with that. I go in with what I just explained. And so I'm bathed with light and I just receive love by way of this light, and I love that because Spirit has taught me before that light is love, light is information. We are light. And so I just receive this love and this information. It's like it's directly downloaded into me from the light that is Jesus. And what I hear and what I know in this moment is the following. I hear, you are safe And he said it multiple times. You are safe. You are true. You are light. You walk this path with light. You are full of light. You are full of truth. You are safe to walk this path. You are called to walk this path of light. Hold your head up and share the light. I walk beside you. I am within you. I am you. Walk with me. And he held his hand out. And then next thing I know, I'm like back in my noisy kitchen at the kitchen table. And I'm like, oh, there I am again. I'm definitely back to reality. My neck hurts. I can hear the timer going off my phone telling me it's time to flip the fish in the oven. You know, I can hear the kids running around and I'm just like kind of dazed. I'm like, what just happened? And it's taken me 7 days to find those words and to share those words and to try to attempt to convey them to you, knowing that no words will ever do the experience justice. And so today I want to share that with you because I know there are so many of us that walk this path because it's innately us and it's a part of our path and it's our truth. And we do it with love and compassion and good intention in a world that is starting to get ready for it, but still isn't fully ready for it, but needs it. And I know, there's a lot of religious trauma and wounding and misinformation. And some of us were taught to fear our own light and our own inner compass and wisdom. And we've pushed that down and denied it for so long that now we're fearful of it. And I know that so many of us, including myself, have lived other lifetimes being harmed for knowing that I am you and you are me, and that everything is one, and that I can connect to God and I can connect to Christ consciousness wherever I am, that I can do that for myself. That has not been accepted in our history. That has been absolutely, I don't even know the word. It's been flipped on its head. We've been taught to fear it. And so many of us come into this lifetime with lived experiences of what happens when we share that. Are we judged? Are we isolated? Are we alienated? Are we stoned? Are we hung? Are we burned at the stake? Do we lose everything that we've ever known? Are we seen as a pariah? Are we seen as a charlatan? Are we mocked and belittled and called evil? We come to this lifetime with all that lived experience. So of course there's fear. And of course there's misinformation. And of course there's confusion. But this experience that I had was so unbelievable and so out of the blue. It's not like I set in my intention to connect to Jesus Christ. Never have in my life set that intention. Never expected that to happen. For that to happen on a Thursday evening in my kitchen in a 5-minute guided meditation as I'm cooking dinner. I mean, of course, that would be how it happened. Of course, that's what I hear. Of course, that's how it's happened. I had to do goosebumps, and so I wanted to share this experience with you because I personally have been moving through. I'm in an ebb. I'm in an ebb energetically. I'm in an ebb, and I've been feeling a lot of doubt and the, I'm feeling avoidance, and I'm like feeling all of these like less than, not enoughness kind of feelings coming up as of lately. And for me to have this experience and be given this gift, this information and this light that lives within my heart now, I'm forever changed. Whew. Um, there is no turning back. I I cannot. My excuses, they don't mean anything. They're just stepping stones. I have to move through the fear. I have to move through the fear. I have to walk the path. I know that my purpose is to continue to share the light. I know that my purpose is to follow the breadcrumbs that Jesus, God, the universe, source, leaves for me and for you, for all of us every single day. I know this is where we're going. I know this is what's true for me. And if you're listening, I feel like this is what you need to hear too. Jesus is real, and what I want to just briefly talk about is the energy that Jesus worked with and continues to work with is called Christ consciousness. And this term has come into my awareness probably maybe 2 years ago. It's not something I've like read about or studied or anything like that, but it's a term that came into my consciousness, and I was aware of like, Christ consciousness, what's that? And then by following the breadcrumb, I was led to taking level 1 and level 2 Reiki. As most of you guys know, this happened in the fall of 2022. But unbeknownst to me, because I didn't realize, the type of Reiki that I signed up for is called Holy Fire. And this is different than Usui. Usui is traditional Reiki, and I didn't know the difference. I just felt like I was drawn to this Reiki, not knowing that Holy Fire, Ocean of Love Reiki, which I am now attuned with, level 1 and level 2 for the past 2 years, is Reiki that works with Christ consciousness. So I feel like I was led to that for a reason. And I feel like since then, since I've been attuned with that energy and worked with that energy, it has awakened things within me. It's leading me down this winding path that I saw in this meditation with this visitation with Jesus. And so just really briefly, I want to say that Christ consciousness is not about religion whatsoever. It is a very, very high vibrational energy that is not associated or connected with indoctrinated, religion and religion practices and learnings and teachings. It is an energy that Jesus has been said to work with. And so this is a high vibration energy that we can all work in and with, regardless of our religious beliefs, regardless of our backgrounds. It's available to all of us. And it is, what I'm hearing in this moment is, it is a self-governing energy. It is, if you're working with Christ consciousness, then this like supersedes this is beyond any sort of ego consciousness. It's this higher level where you are able to see the interconnectivity of all things. where you're able to kind of take yourself out of the equation, in the sense you're able to see something from a really like high level perspective, like Jesus was able to, like if you're able to maybe forgive something that someone has done to you that's caused you great harm, but you reach this level of awareness through healing where you're able to um, see that that act was, not actually a reflection of you. And you're able to forgive in your mind, um, knowing that the person that did it, was operating from an ego consciousness. Um, and so it's just very like kind of high level consciousness that is available to everyone. And I do believe that Jesus, walked that path with that energy every day, which is why the teachings that he had, and, the things that he did, and even in his ending, even in his physical ending, it really demonstrates his work with Christ consciousness. And so I just want to share that with you. This is an energy that, what I mean by self-governing, I'm hearing in this moment, is it's an energy that, is available outside of a church. It's available regardless of religious backgrounds and beliefs. And it's something that's available to you 24/7. And it's self-governing because if you are tapping into that high vibrational energy where you're working with that and you feel that love and you feel that interconnectivity, then you're able to live your life according to it. So you don't need to be told you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. This is, because you're already to a point where you would never do any of those things, because you are working with Christ consciousness. In fact, Christ means anointed one. He was called Jesus the Christ, not Jesus Christ, Jesus the Christ, because he was anointed. And what I had read was that in Greek, Christ means consciousness. So it's about knowing that you're connected to the divine, knowing that you are the divine, you are a droplet of God, experiencing itself through many different eyes, that we are all connected as one. And I think that when you're at that level, and you remind yourself of that, and I'm not fully at that level. Like, there's no hierarchy here. We're all working with our ego, and our ego does have purpose, but our ego also likes to keep us small, and tell us that we can't do something, or it's not okay to do something. It doesn't want us to expand, so to speak. Christ consciousness does want you to expand. It wants you to be the full expression of who you are. It doesn't have a gender. It doesn't have an age. It doesn't have a belief system. It just is. It's just what our souls are made of. It's the good within all of us. What I'll share with you is that after this experience I had last Thursday night, a day or two later, I was on YouTube. I opened up YouTube to upload a client reading on there, private client reading. And as I was doing this, like a suggested video came up on my YouTube feed. And it was a person called Amanda Ellis, who some of you might be familiar with. At the time, I didn't know who Amanda Ellis was. I'd never heard of her before. So, I'm following the breadcrumbs here, some sort of internal nudge. I click on her video and I discover that she is a spiritual mentor and teacher, and she has a religious background, a Christian background, where she was, in church and taught all that stuff. And she had an experience where she realized that, she could experience God and Jesus and Christ consciousness regardless of where she was, and that is non-denominational. And she works with the light, and so she talks a lot about Christ consciousness. So I'm like, of course I'm guided to her. And then I discover that she's got an oracle deck called Christ Consciousness Self Mastery Oracle. And I thought, oh my goodness, I definitely need that deck. But I also felt like kind of asking the universe, asking God to give me a sign that that was the right thing for me, and I should be working with this deck and sharing the information, um, the wisdom from the deck with you and with others. And so I asked for the sign, and maybe 10, 15 minutes later, my phone gets a ding, and ding, there's an email. So I check it, and it's from a client that I had connected with maybe 10, 12 days before that. And she had said, so I just want to let you know that I've been quiet. I haven't, I haven't reached out or anything because I've been processing the experience I had with you. And she said, I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about how I feel. I can't stop thinking about what came through. And she's like, I'm just so grateful. Like, I don't think you understand that you've changed my life and you've helped me heal so greatly. And as a token of my gratitude, here is a monetary tip. And she said, I'd love it if you treated yourself something that makes you feel good. And so the amount we're rounding up here, is like $2 and something odd cents more than I needed for the deck with tax and shipping. So she left me with, there was $2 extra. And I just thought, oh my goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is how the universe speaks to us. I have gone on record as saying, you never know, if you feel this intuition, this nudge to share something with someone, to say something with someone, call them on the phone, like whatever that nudge is for you, do it, because you don't know whose prayer you're answering, right? In that moment, that the universe, source, God would be using you, as the vessel to give that gift of wisdom or check-in and love, etc., to that person. And so I definitely viewed this situation and interaction as that. And so I purchased the deck, and this is it. This is the box. If you're on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. It's absolutely gorgeous. It opens up. Oops, let's see. It opens up like this, like a treasure box, and there's a dove in it. And so it comes with a guidebook that is stunning and huge, size of my head. It's like a book, literally. And I just love it. It's so beautiful. I did the in-depth soul guidance spread, which is the seven card spread, and I can't even tell you how mind-blowingly accurate that was for me. And as we leave today, I am going to give this little deck a shuffle. I'll show you the deck too if you're on YouTube. It's really gorgeous. Isn't that pretty? And I'll give it a shuffle, and I will leave you with a message. I will read the message from the guidebook out loud to you, and that's where I will leave you today. Oh my goodness. I just looked at the time, and it's 1:11 p.m. So thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. That's a great little message there. Great little spirit wink. So we're giving it a shuffle. What do the listeners today most need to receive? Oh, beautiful. So the card we get is card number 30, and it says gratitude, appreciation, and thanks. Look at that yellow golden light. So card number 30, go into the guidebook here. I'm going to read it out loud to you. One of the fastest ways to raise our emotional state and vibration is through the daily practice of gratitude, since we all have something to be thankful for, including the life we are blessed to have been given. Spending time today thinking about the people and things that bring you the most joy will help your heart to open and your energy to lift. It may be a family member, an anniversary, or a celebration you enjoy, the warmth of an unexpected loving embrace, your favorite place to visit, or an inspiring piece of music. Often, when we are sad, bored, or depressed, or going through hard times and challenges, it is easy to focus on what is amiss and may have gone wrong. Even if this is true, though, by dwelling on it needlessly, we lower our vibration, making it harder to manifest what it is that we seek. We start to see life through a cloudy lens, expecting more problems rather than seeing the beautiful world that it still can be. Okay, so I'm going to skip through the next paragraph, and then it says, if you're struggling with ill health, give thanks for what it is that you can do, the parts that still work. Indeed, often when one sense gets dulled, another simply can become more enhanced. You guys know that about me because I shared recently about my hearing. I shared a thought about that. You may not be able to hear, but what you see or sense very deeply, you may not be able to walk, but your arms are strong and you can sing like an angel. Honoring the physical body, which is the vessel in which your soul lives, is vital, as is showing it love rather than judgment. Even at the end of our lives, we should be grateful for our body, which took us through our earthly journey, and blessing every part of it. Think today about what really matters to you and what you live for, what uplifts you. It may be the arrival of summer, the scent of fresh baking, your pet who is loyally laying at your feet, the fresh flowers in a vase, or a handwritten letter from your loved one. Giving thanks is also a way to strengthen your inner faith, because when you look at what you have been given, it helps us appreciate the universe as a loving, abundant energy that wishes us well. We are taught to give him, and then in brackets, God, love and praise. And a main quality of this when living from Christ consciousness is to remain grateful for the unconditional love that is bestowed on us, which always forgives, provides, and never gives up on us. For that alone, we are truly blessed. A very, very beautiful message for us indeed. I hope that this information has stirred something within you or given you food for thought or has inspired something within you. I thank you for your open ears and your open heart in receiving my voice, my energy, my story, my experience, my vibration. And I'm reminded to end in this moment with that affirmation that I shared and began with, because it is relevant to you as well. And that is, my desire to serve is greater than my fear of being heard. Have a lovely day. See you next week, risers. If you have enjoyed this episode, please consider hopping on over to wherever you listen to your podcast and giving it a 5-star review. Thank you so much in advance. If you'd like to keep in touch, please head over to my website, theintuitiverising.com, to keep up with all the things that I have been doing. I also have a private Facebook community for people just like you. It's called the Intuitive Rising Community. All you gotta do is request to join, and I will let you in. Keep rising.